Hello everyone watching at home, this is Adelaide Eternal. You're with us for round 4 of our recent Highlander event. We had a little bit of a lie before we said that next round we'll have our very own Beckett Wolfe, but instead he's in the booth with me. So we have Beckett Wolfe.
G'day guys.
And Sarven McLinton. So in reality, this is a matchup between Cameron Bird on the left, who is on a Reanimator deck, and we have Rick Borgas on the right, who is on a blue-white-red tempo time walk type deck. So which deck should we look at first?
Let's look at Cam's, and this is a deck that we have already done a deck on, which you guys are welcome to check out. It's looking pretty schmicko at the moment. So it's a Reanimator list, and he's got obviously some big fatties, some ways to get him in the bin with stuff like Bizarre Baghdad, Careful Study, Collective Brutality, Entomb, Faithless Looting, and he's able to get him out with some of the really old school cards like Animate Dead, Dance of Dead, Exhume, Reanimate, and just thinking about it, those are all like really good cards for, they're all quite cheap as well. So if you're thinking about doing a budget one, just as I'm looking at it now, I'm thinking this might not be a terrible one for budget. He does have a Mox Jet in there at 3 points and a few $1,000, but I reckon you could probably cut the Jet if you're doing a budget version. I like the Jet in this list. Lets you get it out fast, but the deck hasn't had too many changes that I can see. He is running Oath of Druids as well.
I really love Bizarre Baghdad in this deck.
I think
obviously,
that's the big one, yeah.
You know, as a Highlander format, and you're looking for these pointed cards and powerful cards, whenever you hit on a card that is not pointed and it just operates as basically the linchpin of your deck, it feels so good, doesn't it? It
does.
just feels 0 points. And the hands when you start off with the Bizarre in them, that's so satisfying.
Yeah. Well, shall we check out Mr. Borg's deck?
Yes, so Rick Borgas, he's actually in our Hall of Heroes. So if you haven't met him before, he's been a mainstay here, and he's been playing for about the last 7 or 10 years. We have to calculate back to
he
that
won
set.
Legacy.
Yeah.
is his winning. So as you can see there, and he's been on this Highlander deck for a little while now.
Yeah, he's really, really been working on it, and honing it indeed. Let's have a look at the list itself. We have basically ways to, if you imagine this like there's a bunch of Monastery Mentors in it, like a vintage deck. Monastery Mentor, Time Walk, that's essentially what you want the deck to do. But unfortunately, it's a Highlander format, so you can't just run 4 Monastery Mentors and,
Can't run 4 Time Walks either. So.
Can't do that either, unfortunately. So there's a bunch of replacements for the Mentor slots, and there's things like Young Pyromancer, which you expect, Thing in the Ice, which has this unique ability of bouncing all those non-horror creatures back to opponents' hands, so they're left with solely their Phyrexian Revoker.
Oh no,
and
it's a horror.
It's a horror.
Nice.
Random, right?
Huge tick.
And then he's got other kind of angles that he can attack on, like the Gutter Snipe, which basically shocks them whenever you cast rather than making a token. And then the rest of the deck is just all the glue that holds it together. So all these instants and sorceries that trigger them. And the key instant or sorcery is, of course, Time Walk. The namesake of his Jeskai turns deck. So let's have a look and see how these decks match up back on the battlefield. And I believe the players are drawing their hands now, and let's have a look and see if there's any mulligans. So that's Cameron's hand is Big Dirtly Dude, Fast Mox Mana, Thoughtseize, Gaia Reach Sanitarium, and Wall of Glare.
Good.
A second Wall of Glare as well.
So he's got land, he's got a hand hate spell there in Thoughtseize. He's got Collective Brutality, which will let him discard the Runes card, but he might even want to keep it in hand for the Show and Tell.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad hand.
The Chrome Mox might be relevant if he wants to pitch the Thoughtseize and cast the Brutality or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what order.
Well, he's only got a few, I think 3 or 4 pieces of
so maybe just don't use the Chrome Mox.
fast mana in the deck. But I think that's enough to keep your opponent scared. Like, your opponent sees it, and then they're like, "Oh no, I can just lose turn 1."
Yeah.
And the reality is, it's probably not going to happen. But I don't need to say why Mox Jet is good, because I think, even if it's not turn 1, Mox Jet's going to be pretty decent. But yeah, especially when your opponent's sitting there calculating what you can do, and they don't account for something like a Mox Jet, or they overestimate it and they go like, "Oh, I've got to keep up my spell snare."
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just not going to happen in reality.
Yeah,
So
I totally agree.
I like having just. I think he's got Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox, and the Jet. So I like building the list like that.
Yeah,
Rick
like
mulliganing, unfortunately, but
down to 6.
he probably knows what Cam's on. Those guys are mates.
Oh yeah, actually, literally, these guys have tested this matchup. Look, here we go, right on
Nice.
screen. Force of Will, Telling Time, Ponder, Thought Scour,
That's a good
Cryptic
hand.
Command, 1 island. So he gets to scry. If he finds a land, it's on top. If it's not a land, it goes on the bottom, right? That's pretty much snap scry to the bottom if it's not a land.
Well, is he on the plate? Because he's got Thought Scour. He could just scour it. It might not matter.
Relevant. Yeah, no, he's on the draw, which makes this. Oh yeah, so Thoughtseize to have a look first, and you can be sneaky here, and you can take the Ponder and just say you're not going to be able to find your second land, lol, because it was a scry.
yeah.
Oh, but it was a scry to the top, so yeah, it's not.
I would have done that if not for the
Scry to the top?
the Thought Scour as well.
And a Thought Scour.
Because the Thought Scour is sort of just like another
Cycle it.
cycle. So
Well, the scry to the top is really relevant in that it's kind of like it's probably going to be the land. It's probably going to be the second land. So yeah, you can't really go on that land denial strategy with Thoughtseize. But yeah, he's just making the play that allows him to say, try and combo the following turn. Not saying that he has it, but it sends that message. It goes, hey, I could have Entomb and Exhume, or Entomb and Reanimate.
yeah, and look, I think Cam's always going to be favoured game 1 against most decks, especially on the play with such a sweet hand off a mulligan. But if Rick's got plenty of cheap counters, he's got Daze, he's got Flusterstorm, he's got Misdirection even,
Yeah.
and Spell Pierce as well. So he's got a lot of really cheap ways to interact with the deck.
You don't
which
see
is
Misdirection very often
well, it's uncommon
Highlander.
in a
It's really good.
control deck, and I
Yes,
wouldn't call
yep.
Rick a control deck. We've talked about it before, but it actually does let him run those cheaper counter spells, and even Gush and like Force. So if he's really desperate, he can interact with his combo decks really well.
Yeah. Speaking of combo, he's pitching Avacyn Angel, blah blah, to imprint on Chrome Mox, on some kind of Egyptian Chrome Mox or something.
This is going to be Shanta. Interesting. He had the choice there to either ditch the Runes card and play the Avacyn, or ditch the Avacyn, play the Runes card.
Yeah.
And he rates Runes card over Avacyn. Why do you think that is so?
Well, he knows that Rick is on white, even though it doesn't look like it on his battlefield. But he's on white, and he has Path to Exile and Swords to Plowshares, right?
Okay,
brutality. Okay.
So he's discarding Runes card, and he wants to brutality. Did I not see the show and tell or something?
No, I think it might just be a land or something,
I thought
which
it was...
makes this Chrome Mox play interesting. So we got to find out what that last one is. So that's Nimble Obstructionist in the hand there.
I think that's a new one for Rick. It's sort of like a stifle, is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of like
Vendilion
it's a
clicky.
flash bird. It's it's a 3/1 Vendilion clicky type flash guy, but you can also cycle it and stifle. But it costs 3 to cycle. So yeah, it's quite an interesting card, and we're not sure exactly where it fits.
He got
yet,
me.
But in the tempo decks is good.
He got me because he cycled it to stifle something, and I instinctively went to counter the stifle, and you can't counter it because it's a cycling effect. It doesn't. It's not a spell you go on the stack. Yeah,
Nice. So
good stifle it.
could you though? I don't think you can.
I think you can.
Yeah,
I
you
reckon
can. You can still stop the cycling. Yeah, okay, all right. So stifle the stifle bird. So Cam is now on one card that he kept in hand and then a top deck. So we'll see exactly
But
what
he
that
has
is.
hurt Rick's hand, and he's got mana to cast or Reanimate, and he's got a fatty in the bin. So
Well,
he's
he's
not,
live. He's live. Like
not
he can
doom
just
and gloom.
yeah, he can just cast a reanimation spell off the top into no ability to interact aside from drawing a card off Thought Scour, and it's something else. Scour's the Snapcaster Mage, a basketball mage. Snapcaster Mage and draws unknown. Let's see, and then you draw another card. So yeah, now it's a lot more dangerous because you just have no idea what's in the hand now after that early Thoughtseize.
I think Nimble ended turn.
I like Brian with an active fetch here
Yeah, it's nice.
because the Stifle Bird isn't going to be really very relevant in this match. So you can put
just-
that away or keep it as a tempo threat.
Yeah, it's a tiny bit slow.
Yeah. He needs his third land anyway. It's just this is a really good brainstorm right now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, in this instance, we can't actually see the rest of his hand. But if he's looking for if he hits a third land here, it's basically everything else. That's not. I misspeak here. He's really looking for his third land so he can actually play. But if he doesn't get a fourth land, he's not going to be able to cast Cryptic Command. So do you send the Cryptic Command back?
I think Cryptic Command's pretty awful either way. I mean, bounce Chrome Mox isn't too bad. But like Cryptic's not where you want to be. It's the same reason you don't like it in the control mirror. It's just too expensive. Like it's good against creature decks.
The goal is to keep it against mid-range. Yeah, mid-range. It shines against mid-range.
So I think I'd be sinking it, even if you hit your 4th land. Like it's not that good. So
well, let's see if he does crack the fetch or not, so we can actually see whether he has. So cracking the fetch here indicates that he's probably shuffled away that cryptic command.
Yeah.
But he's getting an untapped land here. So has he got more interaction at the end of turn? Another kind of, not Thought Scour, but some other kind of...
Well, he's got Mental Note, which is essentially Thought Scour.
Yeah, so
just
maybe
forces you to
something...
target yourself. Or even just a Bruno.
Oh, yeah, his something is happening. Is it actually going to be the Mental Note that you called just there? Let's see. No, it's Repeal. Oh, this is... this is Rick on the Mono Savage deck bouncing the.
I think Repeal's a new addition to his deck. I could be wrong, but
I like it.
It's catch-all, draws a card.
But he's activating Gaia Reach Sanitarium in response, so he gets to pitch the. I think he had 1 land in hand. I don't know whether he's going to keep the land or not. Let's see. He's pitching.
Dispel.
Yeah, Sanitarium.
Which spell?
Pitching Is it Dispel or that spell? So yeah, here we go. Was that? Oh, was this all main phase? So we thought that was at end of turn, so it was actually a main phase, and he was digging for the 3rd land. So yeah, it makes total sense. Show and tell.
I reckon it was a show and tell that he had in his
was show and tell.
I wasn't
okay,
wrong.
This is in response, crack fetch, spell pierce. Oh, and after the dispel goes away, not that he had a 4th land, but the feeling, that's packing it up. He's just packing it in. Like that's.
Was that a bad coincidence or a bad misplay?
Blowout.
Because if he had the show and tell, he surely would have wanted to show and tell before he did, instead of doing the collective brutality. I mean, was he that scared of days?
He was being really careful.
I think so, because he'd already thought since the turn before, taken Force of Will, knew all cards bar 1 or 2. You surely just jam show and tell there, right? And worst case scenario, gets countered, and then you're in the same position, because if you pitch Runescar Demon to collective brutality, then you still, like show and tell's not good anyway, because you don't have a creature, so you might as well show and tell.
Yeah, well, regardless of whether he had the show and tell in hand or not, this is a valid discussion point, because when you're playing Reanimator, let's say, you are incentivized to jam. I mean, that's the whole point of the deck. The whole point of the deck is to have these broken things that you can do in the very early stages of the game, sometimes the middle stages of the game. The goal of your deck isn't to go to turn 15, have 3 or 4 counters as a backup, and guarantee that you cast that reanimation spell, because that's the realm of control, and he's fundamentally a combo deck.
The control deck's always going to win that.
Yeah, so by playing the deck by very design, you're incentivized to jam. So
especially after a thought seize. Look, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I just didn't see the.
Yeah, maybe it was a top deck. We're not sure. But yeah, in general, that's the general rule.
So going to sideboards here, Cam's got a few fatties in the board, which I imagine he brings in for specific matchups. I don't think any of them are too relevant. Platinum Angel, I don't like. Inkwell is okay, but Rick's quite an aggro deck, so I don't think he wants it. And Ashen Rider is very good at hitting one target, which again isn't too relevant, so I don't think he wants to bring any of those in.
Inkwell's really, really good in those control matchups.
Yeah,
that's
for
about
sure.
it. Yeah, that's the goal.
I think Red Elemental Blast, Pyroclasm. He definitely doesn't want Stronghold Gambit. That's a really cool one.
So
really
are we
like
talking
that
about
addition.
Spogalolol Gambit and Pyroclasm?
Oh, now come on.
Mirrored Break
Sarv is being a bit mean
It's
here.
great that his sideboard's the same, because I can remember all of those cards. Cam, I still remember all 15 cards. They're great. Oh, here they are. They're all the 2 Blast Pithing Needle.
Pithing Needle is probably for Narset, which is fantastic in Rick's deck. And
Isn't
probably
it funny
pretty
that
bad in everything else, right?
that card that you
So
look at
good
it and
in
you're
Rick's.
like, this looks like, it's playable. And then as soon as you see the Borg, he plays Time Walk, and then he rebounds the Time Walk.
I'm
and doesn't
constantly scared of Narset, and only in Rick's deck. Stronghold Gambit is not coming in here. It's a really sweet card though. Check it out. It's sort of like a show and tell, but only if your opponent isn't on creature decks. So it's obviously not coming in here because Borga can play show and tell his own creature in. But it's a really interesting card. I'd check it out. See it in the sideboard of some Legacy show and tell.
True. And so, Legacy Reanimator or whatever it is. He definitely brings in duress and those kind of like interactions, right? Just that kind of stuff. But obviously the Borg's going to show us his sideboarding here. I think he's got a hand ready to show the cam. Not the Cam as in his opponent, Cam.
Yeah,
All
don't show that Cam.
Graveyard Hate. He's only got three. Oh no, he's got 3 pieces of Graveyard Hate, and he's got the Supreme Verdict and
the Containment Priest is, I think, going to be a real star choice because you can get them in response. Whereas, often the Graveyard Hate, your opponent already knows about it, but going like reanimate this and in response Containment Priest, flash it in is
getting him just feels real good.
the get factor.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many things in life that satisfy you as much as flashing in a Containment Priest against a Reanimator opponent. I'd say the only other thing would be flashing in Notion Thief when someone brainstorms.
Yeah, we know how much you love that Sarv.
I can't get off the Thief. The Thief, it's Thief life for me.
So Path to Exile going in there as well, which I think is good. And also Supreme Verdict. And I'm a little bit surprised. I don't know Rick's deck too much. He might have cards that he doesn't like. For me, I almost feel like once one of those fatties are in, it's like verdicting them isn't going to be great.
You're losing the game.
Like if it's Runescarred Demon or something, like you've already...
Even Avacyn's indestructible.
Yeah.
But let's talk about one of the cards that might have been shown. Was it Myth Realized? Is that what it
Myth Realized? I don't think he put it in, but it's definitely
might
in
have
his
been taken out.
sideboard.
Yeah, whatever it was. We've had a discussion about this card, but we'll leave that.
Threat.
It's
right?
a threat. That's right. That's the conclusion. It's a threat. Let's go to this hand. So it's a single land hand, which is a gemstone mine, and then duress, which you can cast turn 1. He's got misstep to protect it, and he's got Is It Charm to draw and discard. He's got exhume. So he had the pieces. It was actually a nice hand, bar the second land.
Yeah, I think I'd be throwing that away.
But when you're on the play and you can't consistently draw your second land, it'd be bad. So it's a Time Walk 1 land hand, but he's got Serum Vision's Ponder. Serum Vision's Ponder and Flusterstorm.
He can interact and he can hit, and he's got 3-pointerinos.
I love it when people. Rick is
He's
a diligent. He's a professional. This is part of being in the Hall of Heroes.
Rodeo, mate.
That's right. When you're in the Hall of Heroes, you get specific training on how to show your hand and make sure it's really clear for the audience. Everyone gets to enjoy it.
Putting in a nice effort there as well.
That's it. Yeah, he's gunning for the Hall. So that's an animate dead on top. So he's deciding whether to scry on top or bottom, and it is on top. It is a hand with not just a single land, right? That's that opener looked so tasty, bar the second land. Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Starting off with the Get Probe, exact perfect information, knows that he has to play around Flusterstorm.
Very, very relevant. And is Rick looking for a turn 2 Time Walk? We've always talked about how Time Walk...
How much we hate it.
Yeah. But, at the same time, Rick's got like Noxious Revival and Snappy, and he's got ways of getting
He's got ways to get it back.
And
the issue obviously there is that he doesn't have a third land drop, so you can't really advance his game. But if he had a third land drop and he just needed to get later in the game and have Flusterstorm back up and so on, then yeah. So he found a Reb.
It's a pretty good
Reb's strong.
Unfortunate
the mono blue hand is a mono blue hand.
Yeah, Reb's pretty good. Unfortunate for Cam, the Gemstone Cavern is his opener.
I think it's a mine, right?
Oh, sorry, Gemstone Mine's the opener.
Not yours. Not your Gemstone Mine.
I get it.
It's a long night of commentary. So, Rick is going for some kind of Serum Visions or Ponder or something like that first.
Probably start with Serum Visions, I reckon.
Start with the worst one. It just depends. Is he trying to make sure that he has interaction early? But he's just, Serum Visions. So, draw card, scry 2, the wrong way around, But one's on top, one's on bottom, which is a good sign at least. I assume he's just hunting for the second land drop, right?
Oh, Rick.
He doesn't know whether it's a second land. He doesn't know whether he needs to take the land or the interaction, probably. I assume that's what it is.
Yeah, it could be
do I take the
land and Spell Pierce or something.
Yeah.
And you
the
Spell Pierce.
I want both, but I don't necessarily want to slow myself down. And yeah. Okay, so this Gaia Reach. Gaia Reach has been coming out of...
so many decks.
So yeah, it seems really good. The issue obviously is that this is a 4-color deck, and Gaia Reach is colorless. So he didn't hit the land drop, so maybe the land drop is on top. But Nimble... Oh, yeah, so he's Thought Seizing Time Walk, and there is no second land except for... I mean, is he relying on the Ponder to find the second land? Was he really deciding that critical decision of whether I keep 2 lands or I push 1 or...
No, I reckon it's either Spell Pierce or Daze or something like that is what he saw.
Yep.
and
It's just an
and he wasn't
interaction
sure, and then a
or
land.
Land, yeah. So here's a top bottom again. This is the
Oh no, Ricky's having
Oh.
another think.
This is the kind of thing that happens when you are struggling to kind of reconcile the two halves of the deck, i.e. interaction and actually having a mana base. You know, they say he's probably wondering, can I afford to? Can I not? Here we go.
Yeah, let alone a threat. That's future Rick's problem.
Yeah, that's all right. First of all, we need to not die.
Turn 5 Rick's problem.
Faithless looting. So that's going to be the end of your mine, my gemstone mine.
Whose?
Mine? So we are getting fizzle flommed.
Seems good. I think
it's a strong play.
I think it's very strong.
You just need to, because it's going to deny putting something in the bin. It's a big question about how... Oh, Pithing Needle.
What does it name? Jace? Narset?
Oh, man. Is the blind Pithing Needle name... Is he just going to name a piece of hate in the deck like Tormod's Crypt? Like, they know each other's decks so intimately. He might just be like, Relic of Genitus, or...
But it surely can't be that good because you don't know what Rick's going to draw just because you know it's
Yeah,
in
I
his
know.
deck.
So, like, he's being mana efficient, but it must have obviously been something that he was terrified of that he named. So, he obviously knows that's that. Yeah, so that Faithless Looting, that Flusterstorm on Faithless Looting was key. Sorry you didn't get to see more of that game, but I'm pretty sure...
Pretty brief.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Cam... The two of them have played this matchup so often. Cam he knew the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, I guess Nimble Obstructionist comes down right there and...
And he doesn't get a land, and
he
it can
just-
stifle a fetch land. And anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the 2 half matches, and we'll move on to round 5 next. Thanks for joining us.
See you guys.